I'll be sick of the rest of it, the best, but don't possess the necessary silky skills until to build, but still they feel the legendary. It's really a mess, I sit in a stress, but right now, it's for 2C87.
Yes, Matt Matthews.
Peace, my name is Xavier.
Oh, it's Natty Kahu.
Yo, what's good? It's Jahazel.
Rago Zulu Rebel, yeah, aka Jah Messenger.
Yo, Christian Gabriel.
My name is Shakara, representing for the army. Bigging up
gotkushTV.
Right now we say 10 time worry. You ain't got nothing if you ain't got kush.
There was empires in Africa called Kush. Timbuktu, where every race came to get books. My success to you, even if you wish me the opposite. Sooner or later we'll all see who the prophet is.
Jah, no God when you see me. Dedicated to the sun, that's the S-U-N. Known to walk on water, die and rise again. The sustainer of human life, yeah? Most powerful thing you ever seen with your two eyes. Hail up the sun, hail up nature, hail up our men. Hail up the ancestors who taught us nature, using the nature. Get me?
Hip hop. The first spelling of hip hop: capital H, lowercase p, capital H, lowercase p, lowercase I, lowercase p, lowercase h, lowercase o, lowercase p. Hip hop spelled as one word. It looks like hi-fi. It's hip hop. Think of it as words like psychology. What's that P doing? It's called a silent P. Look at words like know, K-N-O-W. What is the K doing there? What's the W doing there? These are words that help to create reality. Now, here we go. How do you fix your situation? How do you become healthy, wealthy, and wise? Here's hip hop's way. There may be hundreds of ways, and there are. But here's hip hop's way. First, you have to change the reality in which you're in. How do you change reality? Well, it is said that in the beginning was the Word. In the beginning was the Word. This is the beginning of changing reality. Whatever the brain does not have a word for, it cannot see. I'll say it again. Whatever the brain does not have a word for, it cannot see it. It can see it, or should I say it notices it, it looks at it, but it doesn't see it. Your reality is based on the words you know. An example. So an electrician walks through this room right now. We're all here. Each and every one of you are thinking, intelligent human beings. An electrician walks in. The electrician looks at this room and says, you know what? Those are certain kinds of lights, a halogen or this one or that one, and they're wired in a certain kind of way. Just by looking at the ceiling, I can tell you that half that room is the lights are gonna go out in 6 months. This will stay on, that'll be out. Why? Well, because of the lighting, the type of lights it is. You just came in the room. You see the lights too. But the electrician sees the lights. You see the lights too, but you're not worried about them because you don't have words like amps, ohms, or whatever words electricians use to define their reality. If you have not studied electronics, you're not going to see what an electrician sees. So the electrician walks in with his vocabulary. He walks in, he sits down right here. He sees the room according to electronics. A plumber walks in. She takes a look at the room. You know, based on this thing here, I see the fire detector, you know, the way this ceiling looks, you have a certain type of copper pipe going into a plastic steel one, and then the faucet is located on the back. Why? I have plumber language. I have plumber words. The plumber walks in, you're in the room too. But plumbing language is not on your mind all day. So things are going on all around you all day that have to do with plumbing. You don't notice it. You're moving according to the words in your head. I don't see no electronics in here. It's just a room with lights. Nah, the electrician will be like, no. This room is wired. The same electrician sits next to the plumber. The plumber says, look, that's electronics. Let me tell you, all your wiring is about to go nowhere because it's going to be a flood in here. The electrician's like, how could you tell? Because the electrician doesn't have plumbing knowledge, plumbing words. The electrician can't see what the plumber can see because the plumber has words, plumbing words. Okay, a painter walks in, same room. Sits next to the electrician, sits next to the plumber, the painter walks in. The painter says, wait, this paint is called deluxe something something. That's not white, that's off-white. That's not brown, that's a color. You see the same paint, but you don't know that this is a certain word. This paint right here is not just white paint on a wall. This is a certain kind of paint. The painter walks in the room and sees something completely different than the plumber and the electrician and you. The room done changed now 4 times. The same room changed 4 times based on what words the people in the room has. Whatever the brain does not have a word for, it overlooks it. Vocabulary is the key to success. I'll say it again. Vocabulary. Knowing a lot of words. Knowing a lot of terms is the key to you seeing your way out of things. New words bring new realities. We pieced all our new words together, and that is hip hop. All these new terms for what we do, and we stuck with it, created a new reality. Hip-hop sidestepped the entire mainstream process. I mean, all of it. Every last piece of it. We sidestepped the whole thing. They told us this is how you suppose, there's a model for how you are to be successful in this world. This is the model A, B, C, D. We came up with, like imagine, say, here's the model, A, B, C, D. Everybody looks for A, B, C, D. What do? We said it's A, B, K, D. New reality. Just like that. You're going A, B, C, D. That's the way we get to success. We said A, B, K, D. Now we over here. You're still over there, but we over here. Now while your society is building and growing, so is ours. 1973, Kool Herc comes out, brings out the first sound system, 1520 Sedgwick Avenue in the Bronx, August 11th, 1973. Right after him, a gang member. He doesn't like when I say that, so I won't say it too many times. But a gang leader of the Black Spades, the biggest gang in New York in the 70s, modeling themselves after the Black Panther Party. When the Black Panther Party was infiltrated, many of the gangs in New York started because of the Black Panther Party and started with that free breakfast program that you don't hear anything about anymore. You just see Huey P. Newton standing there with a gun. That has nothing to do with the Black Panthers. That's like this poster here. Okay. It's like saying, this is all of KRS-ONE right here, pointing at his face. Okay, whatever. That has nothing to Black Panther Party was about feeding people, protecting and feeding black people in the hood. Really, I can't even say black. It was anybody living in the hood at the time. Anybody. Because in the black community, there's all kinds of people. I find that funny. You know, they say the white community. Well, you can find only whites there. You say the black community, you see everybody. What's black about it then? I'll forget another lecture another time. My point here is, and look at this, because you got to see this about the creation of reality, okay? So the Black Panther Party's had a food program. And this is what was feeding the people. Now, Africa Bambaataa, who this gentleman would become, the gang member, the so-called gang member, leader of this big gang, he goes to Africa, and an African Zulu chief tells him, you can read this online, so I'm just going to paraphrase for our talk here. He goes to Africa, he becomes enlightened by an Zulu African priest. And by the way, just take a look at that. I told you about the Asian connection. Do more research on that as well. Bruce Lee was not the only one. There's more, because in the 90s, Japan gets ill with hip hop. Korea, right now, the #1 B-boys and B-girls in the world. Ain't nobody playing with South Korea right now. Nobody, okay? They are the #1 B-boys right now doing it, okay? Although at Red Bull's BC1, the winner over everybody, including the Koreans, a few years ago was a guy named Lilu from France, from Paris, actually, and particularly Paris. Was actually a Frenchman, B-boy. And this is what I love about hip hop, the content of your character. Had nothing to do with race. Blacks were there, best in their field. Whites or should I say Europeans, British, and notice how I say Europeans and British. Okay. So you got Europeans, you got British, you got everybody from everywhere. And we're all practicing this one skill, and we all met right here. We're gonna find out who is #1. It was a French dude from Paris. Took everybody out, and look at the respect. Everyone agreed he was the best. These are the masters from their area. But after they saw Lilu, it was like, yo, we gotta go back to the drawing board. These are the masters of their field. Imagine what Lilu felt like. Stepping off with the trophy. Respect of the blacks, Asians, Europeans, Southeast Asians, us Hawaiians, they were all there. Russians, there. They all gave it up to Lilu, French dude. He walked off with respect. That's hip hop. Race was not even the issue. We're so far, that had nothing to do with nothing. Let me see your moves. Same thing with MCing. Look at Eminem. People criticize M all the time. White dude spitting the rap. What? He think he black. I watched Eminem. This used to be a thing called, this is a side note, there's a thing called Lyricist Lounge back in the days. Eminem used to roll with a group named D12. Well, he still does actually, or still did when they were a group. And there was another group from Jersey called the Outsiders. The Outsiders is an ill group. The grimiest bunch of dudes you can imagine, okay? MC in the 90s. They had the hottest rhymes. They were part of every cipher, and it was Lyricist Lounge. Here comes white Eminem from Detroit. You know he about to get it. Detroit's up north. We in New York. New York don't care about nothing, okay? Yeah, we don't care nothing, okay? White dude from Detroit coming down in the cipher. We got Latino people, black people, Asians, everybody there. We in the 90s. Here come this white dude, smash everybody. Everyone was embarrassed. He came with a new style. He entered the cipher. This is before records. This is before all the hoopla. Eminem was at the very bottom of he was at the bottom, and I was there. I'm a witness to it. He got dissed many times just because of his whiteness. That racism was on him too. against him. Oh, it was brutal for him. It was brutal for the Beastie Boys. It was brutal for MC Search, third base. It's still brutal for Vanilla Ice. He keeps getting dead year after year. Okay. But I'm mentioning these people because just in terms of race really didn't matter. It mattered to some races. Those who could only see Eminem for his whiteness, it maybe mattered to them, but in the skill of hip hop, he was allowed to enter the cipher. What you got? We don't care about whiteness, but we don't care about what you got. Open your mouth. Let's see the content of your character. He opened his mouth, started telling grim stories about being white in a trailer park. Woo! See, y'all get it from 8 Mile. He put the movie out, 8 Mile, with brilliant movie. Another one, if you're into hip hop, scholar, make sure you watch 8 Mile, please. Okay. Brilliant story about his rise to the top. But it's a true story. It's a true story. Black dudes beating him down every day. His daughter looking. His mom's is crazy. He's trying to do his thing. That's real life. Real life. Now you look at Eminem. How did he start? Scroungy little Eminem. He goes up to 2 guys. They had a show called The Wake Up Show. King Tech and Sway. Sway is an MTV host, or was, or is now, whatever. I think he's on Sirius Satellite in America. He goes to their show when they was on in a California radio station. They said, okay, spit your rhyme. And every time Eminem was asked to spit his rhyme, it was done sarcastically. It was done like, you ain't nobody. Let me just hear what you got. That thing. Oh, you white, so you can't really do it like that. And that's how he got over. Because when your guard was let down, that's when you got your head chopped off. And his rhymes were so brutal because he came from the same place we came from, but his skin color was different. So everybody looking at, oh, you white, but then when he opened his mouth, those with real skill was like, Why do I bring this story up? Because number one, hip hop has nothing to do with race. Nothing. It is the content of your character. Go back to Dr. King. Why was this important? Because Dr. King was talking to us. He said, one day, my kids are going to grow up in a society where they're not going to be judged by the content of their character, judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. The only place you see the I Have a Dream speech anywhere in the world is hip hop. Oh yeah, everybody like to play the speech. Everybody like listen to the speech, but the only place you see the actual words of the speech being outlined in a culture is hip hop. Only place. Blacks ain't never rose to Dr. King's dream. Never. African American, never. Never got there. Haitians don't like Jamaicans. Jamaicans don't like Africans. Africans don't like African Americans. African Americans don't, come on. We're so far from this. I can go through every culture. Japan don't like China. South Korea with this. The Latinos. Nobody has risen to the level of Dr. King's I Have a Dream speech except hip hop. Nobody. We're the only global culture that really don't care where you come from. What you got? What's the content of your character? What's gonna come out your mouth when you open up? Who you hang with? This is what we want to know. Now, this is why do I mention this? Because this is the key to success. Go back. If you could create a new reality, you escape the old one you in. I'll say it again. You're in a messed up reality. Sick, broke, tired. I need to change my life. I want to get out of this. Start talking some new words. Start believing in new words. Start making new words your true reality. And you can apply this really to anything, to be honest with you. You can really apply this to anything. Christians did it. I mean, I can't even say everybody. Every religion, every country, oh look, I'm in Britain. Oh yeah, oh this is good. From America, okay? The word American used to be said here like someone would call you nigger with an ER. By the way, nigger with an ER is offensive. Nigger with an A is not. In hip hop, say it again.
Never ignorant, getting goals accomplished.
Dead Prez, what? Never ignorant, getting goals accomplished. That's from Dead Prez. Yes, in hip hop. Now, in the African American culture, no configuration of the word nigger is acceptable. But in hip hop, we made $3 billion on that one word. Wow. How did that happen? Because we didn't look at the mainstream interpretation of the N-word. We made up our own version, stepped into a new reality, and it helped us. Where does this apply to you as real knowledge? Well, start with your name. Key to success. What's your name? Bob. Bob ain't getting no money. What's your name? Karen. No, Karen. What's your name? Super Karen Ski from 183. Oh, Karen can see money now. Why? Because your name is the beginning of your success. Your name. When we say words create reality, start with your name. What do you call yourself? Well, what do you call yourself? An old dirty bastard? Well, what do you? Well, big up to my man, can't front on Wu-Tang forever. But yo, even ODB changed his name at the end to Osiris. He knew what it was.
Ancient Egyptian metal. Yes. King of the underworld.
Osiris. See, take a look at what you call yourself. This is going to set the vibration on your life. I call myself knowledge reigns supreme. Thus my life. Everyone else was calling themselves super this and king that. I said, I am a teacher and others are kings. If that's the title they earn, it's well deserved. But without a crown, I still burn and burn back to the graffiti. I'm still colorful. I'm still hot, heated, coming at you. Well, that was my little moniker. That was where I came from. What do you call yourself? This is the beginning of your success. Yes, you're kings, queens, princesses, priestesses. You are whatever the content of your character is. This is why Native people, I was going to say Native Americans, but Native people in general, most indigenous people before colonization and commercialization, before all of that, your name was a verb, not a noun. Your name was, they say, what's your name? Oh, that's going to the, whatever you did every day. They say you was a fisherman. Well, what is your name? Oh, that's going to the lake to fish. That's what you'd be called. Oh, what's her name? Oh, that's clothes maker on Wednesday. What's that? Oh, that's astronomer. I wouldn't even say astronomer. That's stargazer at night. The whole thing would be explained. It's only when colonization came upon indigenous cultures that outsiders had to label you something. The Greeks called ancient Africans, and even the term Africa is not even correct. No ancient person called themselves African. Never happened. It's a English type, not even English, like a Greek type. They try to bring African to Scipio Africanus, who defeated the Carthaginians, Roman general, and had Africa named after. They try to bring it over there. It's a shaky theory, but if you go back in the etymology of Africa, you'll run across this name as well. Ethiopia, just talking about names. Ethiopia is a racial epithet. It means burnt face. The Ethiopian people never called themselves burnt face. The Greeks called them that. Called them Ethiops or Aethiops. Actually it's Aethiops, then becomes Ethiops, then Ethiopians, naming all these people. They never called themselves that. We don't know what their original names were because they were colonized. And when you colonize a culture, you wipe out its history. And the history you get is what the colonizer calls you. It's the first thing you got to get away from. Don't use the names your colonizer gave you. You'll never get away from colonization. How you going to get free from slavery if you keep using the slave master's terms and names? See, this is what the Nation of Islam was talking about. Get that slave name off you and put the X on it, at least till you get your name back. What do you call yourself? The Greeks are calling us Ethiopians. Today I like the term Ethiopian because Ethiopian has respect. Ethiopian, the title of the name gets respect. No doubt. But in ancient times, it was an epithet. It was a racial epithet. The Greeks called it. Was looked down upon. Oh, back to what I was saying about America. Here in Britain, America was looked at as a racial epithet. You go back to the newspapers in early London in particular. They use American as those Americans, they want to be American. And what was an American? It was some Englishman who sided up with native culture. Get it again. What is an American? An Englishman that leaves the English and sides up with these Indians. Starts ponytailing the hair like the Indians. Start wearing Indian clothes. The Englishman was like, who are these white people? What do they think? They're not English anymore? What insanity are they dealing with? These Americans. And there's most of the titles we call ourselves were at one time racial epithets, degrading racial epithets. We now just go along with it because it's been 100 years, 200 years. You're just going along with it. Like I said, I know what it means to be black. Let's not get it twisted. But if we're going to discuss real intelligence, real thinking, and real freedom, we got to get away from that. We were labeled black, labeled Negro, labeled African, labeled Ethiopian. What are you? What do you call yourself? Well, in 1973, we called ourselves hip-hop. That's what we said we were going to be. Our parents said, you're crazy. We're Afro-Americans. We said, that's y'all. Y'all Afro-Americans. We hip-hop. What do you mean, you hip-hop? We have this word called breaking, MCing, writing, burning, piecing, cutting, mixing, scratching. What? No respect for our culture came first from our parents. This is where I also start with, what do you call yourself? Usually your first name comes from your parents. Damn. Usually in ancient times, when your parents named you, you was that until 12. After 12, you adopted a new name. You became a woman, a man. You're not an adult until you name yourself in ancient times. We might want to go back to that and take a look. Before colonization, what was we really like? We say before colonization, we was hip hop. Why do we say that with such confidence? Because it all makes sense now, doesn't it? At the end of the day, why would I call myself what my enemy is calling me? And I expect to get out of this? No. I gotta come with something completely different. New word, plumber, electrician, painter, hip hop. Italian, Jamaican, African, hip hop. doctor, lawyer, architect, hip hop. I am hip hop. Now that I'm hip hop, I live a hip hop reality. The words that I speak, I see in my reality, so I know where to go now. Everyone else is saying ga 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 goo 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 goo. I'm saying breaking up, seeing graffiti or DJ. Wait a minute, you just dropped out of school. What is? I don't understand what school is. Breaking them, seeing graffiti or DJ. Look, you don't have no job. How you gonna feed it? I don't even know the word job. Breaking them, seeing graffiti or DJ. That's how the culture started. So we go forward. I told you to write down hip hop, hip hop, and hip hop. Hip hop, hip hop, hip hop. The first hip hop, you can put an equal sign and put consciousness. Consciousness. The first hip hop, consciousness. Second hip hop, which is, first hip hop was capital H, I, lowercase I-P, H-O-P, spelled like hi-fi. That's consciousness. You could even say collective consciousness. Hip hop is the name of our collective consciousness. It's the name of this particular group's thinking. Hip hop, second hip hop, capital H, lowercase I, lowercase p, space, capital H, lowercase o, lowercase p, hip hop, 2 words. This is the name of the culture. This is the legal name of the culture. When I say legal, I mean that in 2001, May 16, 2001, we went to the United Nations under the authority of Kofi Annan. We linked at the time, the UN secretary at the time. We went to the United Nations in New York, United Nations headquarters in New York City. We were hosted by UNESCO, United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization. There, we declared hip-hop an international culture and put our names on the books amongst nations. Legally, hip-hop is a global culture. UNESCO sanctioned us, and the UN itself sanctioned us. We had all scholars there. 300 delegates from around the world came up and gave a piece of their mind about what hip-hop is in their country. And by the way, it all matched the same too, which is where we came up with the idea of global hip-hop, because everybody that stepped up to talk had the same issues, like same social issues, and same possible solutions. This is May 16, 2001. The document that was put forward was called the Hip Hop Declaration of Peace. The Hip Hop Declaration of Peace, signed by Kool Herc, members of Zulu Nation. Grandmaster Flash actually left early, but he was there. And others like Crazy Legs and all kind of, most of hip hop's pioneers, Grandmaster Cass, the Cold Crush Brothers, most of them, everybody was there at that moment. We all signed a document called the Hip Hop Declaration of Peace. We are a legal culture, just like the United States Constitution, when it was put into I won't say practice, but when I guess it was finally ratified and made into a document. I think it was 1789. I'm not sure about that date. But just like that, when that document was made, it took about 20 years later for so-called Americans to even know that the document existed. The day the United States Constitution went into effect, or I could even go as far back as to say Magna Carta, actually, which is what the Constitution is partially based upon. It's based on English law. In actuality, you have a thing called the Magna Carta back in the days. The king was forced to point of sword to take that Magna Carta in. But the point of the matter is, even the Magna Carta, that's rhetoric amongst rich people. The actual town, the actual country, it still took 20, 30 years for average people to even knew a Magna Carta even existed. Same thing with our culture. I'm saying this to you, and of course it's all online, you can look it up as well. I'm saying this to you because this is what happened. This is real history. And this sanctions your culture for real. You should stand on this. Because the more you stand on it, the more real our reality becomes and the more free we become. If you don't stand on this, we go back to the definitions of colonization. It's just that simple. So that's capital H, lowercase p, lowercase I, lowercase p, space, capital H, lowercase o, lowercase p. That's hip hop. Take a look at the hip. Hip means to know. It's a form of intelligence. To be hip means to be update and relevant. Hop is a form of movement. Now look at this. Look at the hip. Hip. Now, you're scholars here, and we're talking English. I'm speaking American. You guys talk real English. So go look in the Oxford English Dictionary, and you will find the word hip hop right there. And by the way, it's funny about being, see, let's go back to about being black, okay? Black, this thing, okay? The Oxford English Dictionary doesn't have the word African in it. Take it in slow. The Oxford English Dictionary does not have the word African. Go look. You will not find the word African in the dictionary. In fact, they clean this era up, this little bit of racism, they clean it up by making a supplement. They call it some kind of supplement. They put it at the back of the dictionary. And it's all the words that they claim they miss. So in the back of the dictionary is the word African. Okay? You can forget seeing Kush. You may see Nubia, maybe. You know, you got to get the 20-volume Oxford English. There's 2 versions, 20 volume. You got the compact. You know, based on who you reading is what you get, and they got to know the history of the author. There's no way you write in the Oxford English Dictionary all English words ever put down is in this book, and you forget African? I'm sorry. Another lecture, another time. The reason I bring this up is, but hip-hop's in the dictionary, though. It's not our hip-hop. It was actually quoted as a play. What is called George Velez. A duke, an English duke, actually he was the Duke of Buckingham, George Velez in the 1600s. He's the first one credited with using the term hip hop. And the term there is a play that was happening as he was being dismissed from Charles II's ministry. I'm just giving you a little bit of history here. He is quoted as saying in this play, quote, "To go off hip hop is 1,000 times better than anything in the world," end quote. Now that's the first time hip hop is discussed in English language. And the first time hip hop is discussed, it's in a play, and it's the best thing you can do with your life. Now, of course, this has nothing to do with us. I'm being very poetic here. But I'm giving you the background on this word, the second spelling of hip hop, where you can find more information, at least in English language, and I can't resist. I'm in Britain. Go to the Oxford English Dictionary and do some research. Hip means to know. When you break hip down, it means to, oh, it's also your hips. But it means to know as a form of intelligence. To be hip is to be updated, to be up on something. And by the way, hip is an African word. The original word was called hippie cat, HIPI-cat, C-A-T. And it meant one whose eyes are open, one who is aware of one's environment. That was the original concept of hip. It was called hippie cat. One who knew, the hippie cat, the one who was aware of their environment, the one who was awake. This goes into jazz culture as hep cat, and then enters American English vernacular as hip, meaning to know or to be fashionable, in style, up to date. You're hip. Hop always meant springing, jumping, hop. And springing with successive movements, as the Oxford English says. So it's a hop is like this. That's how hip hop looks in consciousness. Imagine that. Hip hop doesn't walk, it hops like kangaroos, like birds, like grasshoppers. It doesn't move by walking, it moves in leaps. That's a hop. A hip hop is a movement aware of itself. Hip, I know, I'm aware, and thus I'm moving. I'm moving with awareness. When I am hip to my hop, I know why I move. The only way you can know why you moving is if you give yourself meaning to move. When you give yourself a meaning, meaning purpose, when you have purpose, meaning to your movements, you are hip hop. You may not call yourself hip hop, but hip and hop matches a lot of people in world history. That's why when we talk about hip hop's history, we don't start really with hip hop history, we start with hip hop's origins. You can't have a history without an origin. You need an origin first. Where does it come from? And origins are outside of space and time. History is space and time. So hip means to know, hop, movement. When I am aware of my movements, I'm hip hop. I know why I move. I know what I'm doing. I'm hip hop. And this spelling of hip hop is the correct spelling of our culture. No culture on earth is spelt in lowercase letters. It's a disrespect. Anytime you see somebody spelling hip hop in lowercase, they dissing you. Straight up. You should be angry and alarmed. You should say, no. You don't spell English with a lowercase e, do you? You don't spell Britain in a lowercase b, do you? You don't spell American in a lowercase a. Don't spell hip hop with a lowercase h. This is the name of our culture. Start spelling it as such. Move down to the last part, the lowercase h-i-p, space or dash, lowercase h-o-p. That's commercial products.
About 5 minutes.
Thank you. You got commercial products. That's lowercase hip hop. Usually that's rap. Usually when people spell hip hop like that, you're only talking about rap and rap related things. And I don't want to say it like that. It's not really like that. That's my own prejudice, I guess. It's not this. It is a viable part of our culture. I'm a rapper, no doubt. But let's keep it real. Hip hop is not its products. Hip hop creates products. It is not the products it creates. So as scholars, you can't say, I'm listening to hip hop. No, you're listening to rap. Rap comes out of the culture of hip hop. Breaking, MCing, graffiti art, DJing, beatboxing. These are all expressions of me knowing why I'm moving. They're expressions of hip hop. They themselves are not hip hop. Hip hop is the name of our collective consciousness. It's the name of our group's thinking in society. You may not be part of that group, so be it. But if you are, here's how you represent yourself. Hip hop in lowercase is the products. I had a great review this morning in the Metro. My daughter brought it to my attention. Great interview. I mean, great review. I got 5 stars. Oh, I was feeling myself. But they spelled hip hop in lowercase. I couldn't enjoy the article right there. I was like, damn. They say they went through the whole KRS, he's the teacher. Oh, he's this, he's that, and you spell it in lowercase. Have you read any of my books? Have you seen any DVDs, anything? Why? We've been talking this for 20 years. Journalists that are in the room right now, you can save us by starting to spell hip hop in these ways. When you're talking about the collective consciousness of a people, spell it as one word. When you're talking about the culture that consciousness creates, breaking, MCing, graffiti, or DJing, beatboxing, that's called hip hop. Second spelling. When you talk about the products that the culture creates, that's lowercase hip hop. So you start with consciousness, collective consciousness, creating culture, which creates the products. If you could start like this, you're on your way to superstardom. Why do I say this? Here now, the money with my last 2 minutes. As scholars of the culture, if you can somehow present hip hop the way in which I am presenting it to you right here, this lecture in the United States at least is worth $3,000 to $5,000 at the beginning. I make about $22,000 per lecture. Dollars. That means nothing to the English pound, of course. But that in dollars is what I make to do this very lecture that I'm giving to you right now. Except, of course, I would have an easel. So I'd be writing on something right now. It's the only thing missing. Why do I say this to you? Because I'm a high school dropout.
GED?
And no GED. I'm an original, a juvenile delinquent. I dropped out of school and educated myself at the library. Now I say this politely to all college students, that if you're privileged to live in a country that has a free library, oh Lord have mercy, you're gonna go to church. If you are privileged to live in a country that has a free library on every corner, please use it. Please go into that library, spend your last dollar. The library's free. Just pay the woman. Whoever's a guy, whoever's there, just walk up and say, hey, take this money, and I'm just gonna walk around here real quick. You know, it's funny, the museums do it all the time. I was just at the British Museum. They're asking donations every time you turn the corner. They're like, I have a bowl. We want you to put money in it. The libraries don't do that. The libraries don't do that. You walk right into the library, all the world's knowledge is right there. Content of character. This is not about a system trying to hold you back. Hip-hop's way past that. It's about the content of your character. If you can walk into a library and learn anything you want to know, why wouldn't you do it? Well, that's what I did. Now me, I didn't have the discipline that you guys have. That's the other side to this. I was about 19, 18. Actually, I left school at about 16. But I went back and forth, on and off. You know, I took a course here, a class there, but I was never really interested in formal education. I was in hip hop. I was stuck in this thing, and that was the reality in which I was in. And in the hip hop reality, school made no sense. It had no, it's like farming is today, literally. You're not hearing me. It's like farming. Farming is so important. You don't even understand. We would not be here without farms. But we live every day as if the supermarket is the farm. Imagine Imagine one day the military comes and just stands next to Sainsbury, stands and say, "You ain't gonna eat today." What are you gonna do? Like, damn, I guess we ain't eating today. So, let me just put it, I'm coming now. Let me say this. Money, get over to the money. This lecture is worth, for any of you, this lecture is worth $3,000. You can start there based on who you are and how you are. You could raise that up to $5,000. Why is this the case? Because me and Flash and Bam and Grandmaster Kaz, we refuse to give this lecture for lower than $3,000. Now, why do we do that? Because we want teachers to make more money than recording artists. We want teachers to make more money than sports figures. We want teachers to make more money than the president. These people, whatever. Whatever your thing is, okay? We want teachers to be the highest paid people in the world. That's hip hop's mission, at least one of them. One of the big ones. We gotta fix teachers, we gotta fix education. Our children's lives are at stake. All of you are teachers. If you're a student, you're a teacher. And if you're a teacher, you're forever a student. So for those that need to supplement their salaries, those teachers and students that need to deal with this debt, student loan, the debt, you know what's coming at you. Start your business today. From this conversation right here, right now, start taking hip hop seriously. Not as an entertainment pastime, or I'm listening to hip hop. Nope, you're listening to rap. Rap is something we do, hip hop is something we live. At the end of the day, you gotta, let me go back. The reason we charge 3 to 5 is politically we want teachers to make more money. If you are a teacher, teach hip hop. Teach it the way I just showed it to you, and there's more. If you leave me your email address, I'll email you the course. Just like that. Look at the course, study it, then give the lecture. What's so funny about Britain, and this is where colonization works for England, your voice, your accent, I have the accent here, but your voice in the rest of the world is the authoritative voice in the world. Nobody gonna tell you like that. Here you go, this is hip hop. Your voice, when you hear the English woman or man speaking, you're trained to respect that authority. You better use that to every advantage you can. Don't teach here in England. It don't make sense. It makes no sense. Okay? Go to America with your English voice, and mark my words, you will be so successful. Come from another place. Go to Hawaii, go to Africa, go anywhere where there's another voice. What you want to be is where you want to be is where people are not. You want to go where you are not. You don't want to go where you are. Sure, there's something to that. There's camaraderie, there's unity in that, there's community in that. There's a place for that. But we're talking about getting money. Getting money means you got to be exotic. You got to land somewhere and everybody go, who that? The minute they go, who that? You got them. Who that? Oh, let me show you. Super Karen Ski from 183. Here's how we gonna do it. Use what you got. One of the greatest tools of hip hop is that we're not asking nobody for nothing. We're looking at ourselves and we're making that valuable. And usually the thing that is the most valuable is the thing that you take for granted. Start with your voice. Start with your, be proud of your English accent. Be proud of that. Don't try to sound American. A lot of rappers from England, come on. Come on. Rappers
Not
from
anymore,
England trying to sound like you from Brooklyn.
Not anymore. That's dead.
No, sound like you from Britain. Sound like you from where you, because keep in mind, and look at me again, my first record is South Bronx, okay? I did this, I was only rhyming to my block. Okay, keep on, I'm rhyming to the guys up the street. Yo, South Bronx, South Bronx. Now the globe is singing it. Why? I was just talking to my man up the block, South Bronx. We're trying to big ourselves up, our little area right here. We did South Bronx, what happened? NWA came with Straight Outta Compton. This one came with Go Brooklyn. This one came with everybody repping their hood now. Now it's the South. Now it's this. Is it right? Because people realize in America, when I was first put out the South Bronx, the first hood record, by the way, put out the South Bronx. We were coming to California, and everybody was trying to sound like New York in California. California has a different accent. And California's accent is different from Southern accent. The Southerners have a different accent on their voice. So Southerners and Westerners were trying to sound like Easterners. We went right to California, like, we don't even want to hear that. How do you sound from Compton? Straight Outta Compton. Now they got, now Snoop could come out and sound the way he wants to sound. Why? Because hip hop didn't want to hear him imitate us. Hip hop wants you to imitate you. This is how the culture grows. It doesn't grow with you being American, New York, or what you think black is. Hip hop starts with people who are exotic. You don't look like us. You don't talk like us. You don't dress like us. You're not from our hood yet. You spit the room. You can get on your back. Spin. Your graffiti piece has everybody just mesmerized like this. Well, my first label, B-Boy Records, was 3 black dudes, Jack Allen, Ray Wilson, and Bill Camara. To this day, I'm getting ripped off for the Criminal Minded album. Damn. To this day. Anytime you see Criminal Minded out there, go ahead and purchase it, but KRS doesn't get money from that. The only way I get paid from Criminal Minded is if I sell it myself. Meaning when you come to my concerts and you see it right there. That's the only time I'm feeling any kind of money on that. But the album sold globally, worldwide through Sony. Now just to show you how the music business go, this is where power comes from too. It comes from favors. I'm a big enough recording artist now, I could topple Sony with a snap of my finger. It's not really an issue. But most of the executives at Sony are my friends, they are. We all grew up together. I'm getting ripped off totally. They know it. But this is why I walk into Sony and say, give me this, 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 and this. They're like, yes, KRS. Okay, no problem, KRS. No problem. This is power. Just because someone's ripping you off, don't always take them to court. Play with that. I'm comfortable with my situation with Criminal Minded. I bring this up because 3 black men ripped me off for the rest of my life. It was 3 black men standing behind me, taking every dime from me. I didn't know nothing about the music industry. I didn't know nothing. So I went to black men thinking it was black camaraderie, got a new label started, black-owned business. We gonna do this and get free. Nope. Cut my throat quickly. quickly. Whoop, that's it. Now here comes Barry Weiss. Right when that was going on, here comes Barry Weiss. And you know the story. For those who don't know, I'll add another piece to this. This is my ending piece, last 5 minutes. It's my last piece. It is. You know this story here, that while we were getting ripped off at B-Boy Records, Criminal Minded selling everywhere, I'm getting ripped off. Me and Scott LaRock, late DJ Scott LaRock, me and him, we're getting ripped off. A friend came to us from the West Coast. His name was Ice-T. Ice-T just put a record out called 6 in the Morning. And Ice-T was part of Zulu Nation, real hip hop. He was under the instruction of Africa Bambaataa to go to the West Coast and start hip hop. Hip hop is conscious of itself. No mistakes here. We knew what we were doing. Africa Bambaataa sends this guy Ice-T and what is called the son of Bambaataa, a dude named Africa Islam. They both go to the West Coast and land down with hip hop. Ice-T put out a record, 6 in the morning, police at my door, fresh Adidas sneakers on the bathroom floor. And he goes, and the record was huge. Later on he would do Colors. Colors, big movie, you know. Right around that time, he invites us out. Everybody hears that we're getting ripped off. So Ice-T, this is hip hop. Ice-T says, yo, I know a dude named Benny Medina in Los Angeles at Warner Brothers Records. Why don't you come over here and see if you can get a deal and get out of your label? We was like, word, but look, we in the hood. We ain't got no money. I was sleeping on the train at the time, homeless with nothing. Record playing everywhere. I couldn't even tell people I was KRS-ONE. I used to sit in the trains. I used to be in the train, the record, and back in the days in New York, at the end of the train was the party. The last car of the train was the party. Dudes would break out the big boom boxes, turn it on, somebody would turn the lights off, and it would be on in there. I was in the back, they be blasting my record, the bridge is over, boom, boom, bap, bap, boom, bap. I'm homeless, broke, stinking, dirty. I'm like this. These people are over here like this, yo, this dude KRS, yo, do you hear? I'm broke, nothing. I'm sitting over here, I swear, I hope they don't see me. I hope they don't even, I'm just over here. My face wasn't known, there wasn't none of that yet. Just records playing, so nobody knew nothing. I would hear my record playing. I couldn't say nothing, couldn't do anything. Scott LaRock, my DJ, was my social worker. I was homeless in a homeless men's shelter. My DJ was my social worker. The social worker heard me and another guy named Just Ice, another recording artist. We used to be in the bathroom, beating on the bathroom wall, making beats. And I'd be on the wall, and he'd be on the wall, we'd be rhyming. And so the social worker heard us. And he said, yo, y'all good. I'm a DJ, I play every weekend. Friday, he was like, what? The social worker's a DJ? That's mind-blowing. But he became my DJ, and that's how I got out of the shelter. Just on that note right there. So what I'm saying here is, to be successful in hip hop, number one, you cannot be racist. You cannot, and racist in any direction. You can't think just because they black, they gonna be down. Just because they white, they gonna be down. No. Go back to Malcolm X and his 2 Chainz. No, that's not, no. What's the content of your character? What do you stand on? Open your mouth, let me hear your soul. That's what we standing on. These are the keys to success. This is a surface example to the keys to success. If you can teach hip hop, a little deeper than the way I did today, but this is a start. If you can teach hip hop like this, command $3,000 for the lecture and don't go no lower than that, because your fellow students need the money as well. Of course, you could always bargain. You could always bargain. It's really $3,000, but I'm gonna give it to you for $1,500. You can always do that. But always establish the 3,000. And why? Because teachers should be paid more than recording artists. Thanks for listening today.
There was empires in Africa called Kush. Timbuktu, where every race came to get books. My success to you, even if you wish me the opposite. Sooner or later, we'll all see who the prophet is.